Hello, good day, and welcome to Educare SafeGuarding User Guide. So here, I'm going to walk you through the module Safeguarding and how you can use it for your school. So basically here helps you to log, to manage, to analyze, to visualize safeguarding concerns in your school. So with this, it helps you to support the children better while maintaining this country's safeguarding standards. So the first thing is, from the side menu, you can search for safeguarding. Once you search for safeguarding, you will see safeguarding. The first thing for the admin is to do setup. So in the setup here, you can be able to assign the DSL, that's the dedicated safeguarding lead. So you can add a safeguarding lead here. You can add the lead here. You can get from one of your staff lists, get a safeguarding lead, and then you add. When you add, you can have the lead, and you can add multiple of the SLTs. So once you add the SLTs, so when there are any safeguarding concern, they're going to get an email. And also, once they log in, they can see the concern, they can act on it. So you can add categories. So we have already preloaded categories here: bullying, domestic abuse at home, emotional abuse, and a host of other things here. You can add more. So add more categories. You can click on this and add more categories here. Then we have severities: critical, high, low, medium. You can add more here as well. Then we have status. We already have the status of action, assigned, closed, in review, and new. You can add more status here. And then actions: contact parents, guardian, immediate safety action, monitor, refer to external agency. You can also add more actions here. I'm going to show you how those things can be used shortly. So frameworks. So currently we have different frameworks. We have the UK framework, the Nigerian framework, the US framework, and also you can have a custom framework. So if you practice both the UK and maybe Nigeria or just the UK, you can just turn it on. You can turn it off here, you can turn it on here. So for the UK, it's keeping children safe in education. That's the framework. And in Nigeria, it's Child Rights Act and NAPTIP. The US is state mandated reporting. And then you can also add here. So cloning. So by the time you are done with setup for EYFS, you can just clone it to junior school and high school. Like right now, this setup is done for EYFS. If I come to high school, you will see that there's absolutely no setup here, and none of these are set up, right? So what I can do is I can just go back to EYFS here, and then I can just go to setup and click on clone. And once I click on clone, I'll just go to clone from EYFS to high school, include the safeguarding lead, and then once I do this, setup is done. So if I come back to high school, I can see that the setup is done. Everything is done here. So I just clone this from LES to high school, so I don't have to repeat the process. So now the setup is done. Then I'm going to safeguarding. So both the teachers, depends on who you want to give access to. So if you give them access, I'm going to show you how to give access. Once you give them access, they can log safeguarding concerns for their own. They won't see any other concern, so they can only log their own concern. So the only person that can see multiple concern are the DSLs, so which you've already assigned here on the setup. So it's dedicated safeguarding leads that can see this. So firstly is, let me log a concern. You can see here I have 7 open cases awaiting triage. Awaiting triage is cases that you've not attended to after 24 hours. It's already logged here as a triage. We have the high critical cases, which we really need to look into. We have repeated concern here. You can also see total concern, last days closed, and then resolution time for the concerns. So the first thing I have to do is let me log a concern. So if I want to log a concern, I need to pick a student. So I can pick Basi here. So, and I'm going to pick which lead am I assigning it to. So these are our leads here. I can just assign to Alex here, and I can choose the concern. So like I said, you can add more concerns from settings here. I can say radicalization, and I will put it as critical. So the dates, I can just use today, or I can pick any date, any previous date here or any recent dates. So you'll see, describe only what you observe or we are told in your words. Avoid assumption or judgment. The fact helps the designated safeguarding lead the most. So I'm going to put in, you can type any of the concerns with much detail as possible. I can just paste one here, so, and give much detail as much as I can. So it will help the safeguarding lead and the team to be able to take proper actions. So if I have a supporting document, it's not compulsory, but if I have, I can attach a document here. I can pick one thing here and attach. It can be an image, it can be a file, it can be anything. Once I have it here, and then the next thing I'm going to do is to submit securely. So once I submit now, automatically you could see that the critical have increased. So, and the DSLs were automatically notified that the safeguarding concern that they really need to look into. So assuming you logged in as a DSL, you automatically see it. So this is the case. If you click on it, you could see the concern, the time it was logged, who it was assigned to. You can read the report. So if you feel you want to assign to more people, I can manage assign. I can assign to more people too, so we can have more of the leads attending to it. So if I come back here now, you could see now that we have multiple of the safeguarding officers attending to it. So firstly, I can be able to now start actioning or take a note. So I can start actioning or something. I can say, okay, let me write a confidential note. So you can write a deep look at this deeply, and let's discuss it in our SLT meeting today. So you can put a note here. So once you put a note here, what you notice is that now that the conversations is ongoing, you could see that there's already a conversation chronology that is being built. So I can change the status now to in review. So once I change it in review, automatically it already leaves from being logged to in review. So you can see here is in review, showing that we're already working on it. Once we are done with the case, we can simply come in here and just finish, click on close. So we know at every point how many of the safeguarding concerns we've closed. So I can sort by status here in review. I can only see that the status are in review, and then the ones that are closed, the ones that are not yet closed. So with this, it helps you to be able to properly, so you can see the analysis here. You can see the safeguarding concerns month by month. You can see the month trend. You can see the distribution. The emotional concerns are more. Neglect is this. So you can see, okay, within this period, I'm seeing a lot of neglect. I'm seeing a lot of radicalization. So we could sort who are the issue, who are the people involved. We can take up other actions, and we can also report to authorities. Which ones are critical, which ones are high, which ones are medium. So with these visualizations and all this logging, it helps you to be able to properly manage safeguarding in our schools. Thank you so much. You can always refresh your dashboard if you want. Thank you so much.